Okay, guys, we are back here at the gym with Kelly Teresi. And, did I say it right?
Yep.
I butchered that for years. I used to say Teresi.
You did.
Yeah.
That's how Siri says it.
And then Jay hit me. No, he didn't, but he could have. He's like 9 feet tall. One swing. Anyway, so we're back here at the gym. We're going to do some chatting here because Black Rifle Coffee is a little too loud. And the theme of the podcast is the F words, which isn't a bad word. It's farm, fitness, and finances.
Oh.
But possibly more. But I like I always do Fs, like the
Perfect.
3 Fs of coaching. Do you know what that is for my coaches? Fun, fitness, and coaching.
Oh.
And then the 4 Fs of adventure racing with Evie.
Yeah.
It was for safety, finish. No, it was for safety, fun, finish, and then for checkpoints.
Okay.
So yeah, it doesn't have to have an F.
No food.
It's always F. Oh, that's true. Food would have
yeah.
been good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah, so our idea is helping you build a strong foundation for your life. So one day I'll make that actually sound better.
Perfect.
But okay, so you've got an interesting story because you were CrossFitting and then you stopped for a bit and now you're back.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your, history, not just CrossFit. Like well, I'm not gonna spoil it, but you played some college sports.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about your sports history.
So I played soccer from about 10 to 32, maybe.
Oh, still okay.
I played
yeah.
adult leagues.
Nice. Did you keep your ACLs attached?
I did, but when I started playing co-ed, I couldn't play with the 18-year-old men.
Oh, yeah.
That was not working.
Well, not really men. They're like boys
They are,
playing.
but they're
Yeah,
solid.
They're big.
And they hurt.
Yeah.
So
they kick a lot harder.
Their bodies are tougher.
Yeah. So you're saying there's a difference.
There's a difference.
Totally a difference.
And so I was like, I give up, and I had 4 small kids and needed to be able to walk. So
there you go. Yeah.
It was an important topic there. So yeah, I played. We moved to Georgia when I had 4. We had 4 kids under the age of 6. And actually, it was Dr. Eric. We started going to chiropractor, and he talked about this CrossFit thing. I'm like,
He roped me into it, and here I am.
Yeah, really. And he was like, I was like, I go to the gym, like my basic mom classes and at the regular gym. And I'm like, I could totally do it. And of course, it's my mindset of played soccer that I mean, he's like, it's really challenging. I'm like, I could totally do it.
I played college soccer. Look at this.
And so I went for the first time, and you were my coach.
And so I didn't know this. You just told me just a moment ago. What happened in your first class?
My regulator sometimes breaks, and so
You were like, go.
I was go.
It was soccer time.
It was go time, and I was like, "This is not going to beat me."
Yeah.
And you were my coach, and I remember you being super like, "Hey, you don't like."
Good. I was nice.
You were
good. I was my jackass days, so I'm better now.
It was, and I went to the bathroom and threw up.
So yes. So do now that you're back, have we ever said please go throw up?
Oh, never.
It's quite the opposite.
And that
right?
wasn't even the goal then.
No, well, sort of. So back in the day, the mascot for CrossFit was Pukey the Clown.
Yeah.
So there was this like disgusting clown that looked like.
And the puke bucket. I remember
There
the
was,
puke bucket.
yes.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's what you do. And that's not what you do. So it's got a bad rap.
Yes.
But maybe because I'm older, I don't know. But
Yeah,
like today's workout, you're like,
It was great.
yeah. And you're like, did you go crazy hard?
No.
It was a mood day.
I'm sweaty, but
Right.
not.
And you moved.
I'm throwing up.
Right. And you moved below parallel.
Totally.
And you lifted some heavy weight.
Yep.
And you did some jump rope and some sit up. Right.
All mobility. Yep.
So I think 15 years into this, probably the secret, I always joke, hey, what's the secret? Or that's the secret of CrossFit. The real secret is just show up.
Totally.
And
Show up and
listen
move.
to the coach and listen
modify.
to your body.
Whatever you need to modify.
Yeah.
Like I've realized I found it as
How are
kind
the
of-
chickens? Oh, did you put them in the chicken coop?
My husband's still building the roof.
Okay.
So
But
right now
close.
they're still.
Well, let me know if you have questions. I'm there for you. So we are a bit. So I said farm. That's
Yeah,
part of it.
perfect.
Yeah, and okay. I'm going to totally segue because Charity just
Totally.
had it. Yeah. So you sent me a picture that I got jelly over.
Yeah.
It was you and your mom slaughtering 26 chickens. So
Yes.
tell me about that.
Yeah, they have egg chickens.
Yeah.
And these are I guess
Meat
they're
chicken?
meat chickens. Yeah.
So
They
what's
only
the
live for
difference?
6 weeks.
That's weird. I'm
Yeah.
a guy who shops at Publix. I didn't know there was a difference. So
Yeah.
what is an egg chicken and a meat chicken?
Egg chickens are just for eggs.
Yeah.
You don't eat them, and they don't start producing till months later.
That's true.
Right.
Most people don't know that. You have a chicken, don't you have an egg? Like
Nope.
No, it's
a
like 6
while.
to 9 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these chickens you get as one-day-old chicks, the meat chickens. You get one-day-old chicks, and they only are allowed to live 6 to 7 weeks.
No, when you say only allowed to live, you
Yes.
could be like, I'm not slaughtering them.
They
I'm gonna
would
let them.
die.
Oh, they would. Oh,
Yeah,
so
because
they're genetically.
they can't generally.
Not genetically.
They're two crosses.
They're bred
Yes.
to have more meat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they
Gotcha.
don't move a lot.
Oh.
And
Fascinating.
so,
I didn't
yes.
know that. Were
Yeah.
they free ranged
Yeah.
for you guys?
Yeah. I mean, in general, they don't really move a lot. So
Okay.
they're outside, but you still do have to feed them.
So when you see them
So-
packed into like the Tyson farm, it's not because
That's meat chickens.
And but they don't move anyway, so
and
they
they're
don't
ugly.
care.
They're really ugly.
Oh, are they?
They're very ugly.
But when you processed them, the picture you sent, I was like, that looks like a good.
that was unfeathered. They're beautiful.
Did you stick it in the that turbine of doom that pulls their feathers off?
Yep.
So,
So first you boil.
Okay.
It's not boil, but it's the degree is like
Scald them?
150. Yes, because then the feathers, it loosens the feather. First, you do have to bleed them.
Yeah.
In a cone.
Right.
And then you put them in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you put them in this big vat that has like rubber fingers
Yeah.
all over, and it spins them.
Okay. So that explains it. Because I'm thinking, wouldn't that break all their bones?
No.
But you know those
It's gentle, super gentle.
on the road, they've got those pylons, like don't turn here, like stay out of this lane, you know, those little things. Usually, like some people are like, those are metal.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're rubber. They're actually rubber, right?
Oh, okay.
But everyone, they're metal. They're not, because if they were metal, they would wreck your car,
exactly.
right? So just like these things, I see them tumbling around. I'm like, that's metal because it's gripping and it's got. But they're
Nothing
not.
breaks.
They're just a little rubber bit.
Yep. They're
Interesting.
rubber fingers.
And it just grabs.
It just spins them with water. Like water's constantly spraying them, and they come out basically clean. Not.
What
they
happens to
still
all
have
the
the head
feathers?
and all that. It comes out the bottom.
and
like
to
it-
like a slurry pit.
Yeah.
And what do you do with
into it.
that?
You just, you mulch them.
Compost it. Yeah.
I mean, it's just feathers.
So did you have y'all's? It was your mom's. Did she
Yes.
have them in her backyard?
Yes.
Okay, so she just let them go.
They're not they're in a cage because things would eat them.
No, that's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask you. Is I have a chicken farm.
Yes.
When I say chicken farm, it's not really. It's like just me and a couple chickens. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess if it would give me a tax deduction, it would be a farm. But I
yeah.
don't think it would.
No.
Anyway, so I've got chickens, and not this February, but last February we had 3 chickens left because of all the predators. And I'm like, okay, let me collect some eggs. I had a rooster and 3 hens,
Yeah.
and so roosters weirdly don't lay eggs, so they're not as useful. So I collected a bunch of eggs, I incubated them, got more chickens. I did that like 4 times. My thing will incubate 40 at a time. So let's say I had 100 chickens like get actually hatched.
Yeah.
This February I had 12 laying chickens and 2 roosters. So I went from 100. So the McCann Buffet, it should be
Yes.
called the McCann Buffet Farm.
Yeah,
The,
just
the
eggs.
coyotes and the hawks are like, thank you so much. We just love this stuff. Yeah. So it's a 90% tithe to the predators.
And you don't have a coop.
We do, but I free range them. So they're like, hey, this is fun. Let's go out and play.
But you have coops you can move.
I do have those, but that's too much work.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just
Then
weird.
the
because-
coyotes get them.
Yeah, we're in here doing CrossFit, and then moving a coop is too much work.
Yeah.
It is true. I don't want to have to move it every day, so we have ducks as well.
Okay.
And the ducks are a pain because they require fresh water to put their face in, and so every day I got to like dump ponds or whatever. It's just like
So my sister lives in Texas, and they live in an HOA, so they can't have chickens.
they can have.
They have quail.
Yeah. Oh, yes, right. Because you said
So my sister sent my mom 10 something fertilized quail eggs, and my mom has an incubator because she
Yeah.
does that. They all hatched like a
all
couple
10 of
days
them,
ago.
yeah.
And so now she got rid of them, but I saw quail eggs at Publix, and they're expensive. They're tiny.
Confusing to me. So your text, I thought you were saying your sister has them. You meant your mom has them right now.
Well, my mom just
I could
got
have
rid of them.
Yeah, I could have put them in one of our coops that are
And
enclosed.
I asked a couple people in there, and she's like, put it on the CrossFit page, but my mom found someone.
Okay, she already
so,
took them.
yes.
Yeah.
But the quail, and 3 quail eggs equals a regular egg.
Yeah.
They taste the same.
They're
They're just
tiny.
miniature.
Yeah. So duck eggs don't taste the same as, well, let me take it back. They taste the same, they don't texture the same. So they have a different, like a little bit more like wild, like,
Gamey.
not gamey, that'd be a taste, it's like rubbery. Like, but you have to,
Firmer.
Yes, that's
Okay.
it, they're firmer. So if you fry them or over easy them or whatever, you probably don't notice, but if you scramble them, you're like,
You have to chew them more?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I think if you slow cook them, I don't know. There's probably a trick to it.
Yeah.
But I just put them raw into my smoothie.
Perfect.
But they're bigger.
Yeah.
Which I guess
yeah.
makes them better.
Yeah.
I don't know. Bigger's always better.
Bigger's not
Look at our
always better.
cars. All of our cars are bigger.
Yeah. Well, I
So it
have a
must
lot of
be
children,
better.
so.
Right. True. Yeah. I was a little I really liked the Odyssey days.
Yeah.
The Honda Odyssey. Mm-hmm. And we used that for all the adventure races and everything.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, just pile it all in there. Let's go.
Everything fits.
And then the kids, I'm like, do we want minivans still? I'm like, I actually like it. But then we moved away from minivans.
I'm we're just about there.
Yeah.
Of moving,
Away
graduating
from,
from.
out of the minivan.
Yeah.
So we went to the Pilot, which was a little inconvenient because
okay.
there's 6 of us,
Yeah.
and so the seats in the back are not meant for like real
They're like
people.
miniature. Yeah.
And all my kids are growing up, and they're like, "Hey, we're real people now." Yeah. So it was for a while it was a good idea, but I don't know. I like the minivan. Okay. So I'm going to take us tangentially. So it is farm, and it is fitness, and it is finances. So we're going to hit a finance question.
Okay.
What was your first job ever?
McDonald's.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Did you flip burgers or were you the cashier?
Well, I
or
was
did
the-
you eat it all? You're just
I
like,
was
give me
the
that.
we only got half off, so really, I was the cashier. That was my first, like, I guess, taxed job.
Sure. I
but
like the differentiator.
Yeah, I was the cashier, but really at 16, dealing with the public was pretty miserable.
Yeah.
So I asked to work in the back. So I learned how to make the burgers.
There you go.
And I really, that was where I had the opportunity, kind of where my social work started, because most of them didn't speak English. So I got there an hour early, and whoever wanted to learn English, I brought workbooks.
Look at you.
And taught them English.
How about that? Did you get paid for that part?
No,
Okay.
that was
Under the table?
love.
No.
Yeah.
What was your first non-tax, like, hey, here's cash job?
I was a babysitter, probably starting at the age of 12.
Yeah.
And then I worked in our next door neighbor's dental office.
Okay.
I got to develop like literal film X-rays, like in a film room.
Yeah. They don't do that
No
anymore.
No digital.
That's hard to explain. Like the idea of us as kids taking pictures with a device that had film in it, and the kids.
And you have to dip them in the different solutions.
And then you're like, when do
yeah.
you get your film back? Are they good pictures? I don't know. You
Generally
just,
not.
Yeah, you just hope that. Yeah.
Like Photo Drive Up, we used to like drop off our film
Yes.
and they're like, what is that? I'm like, and then half the pictures you throw away because
No good.
Yeah.
It's blurry. And you're like,
so-
my finger was over the whatever. Remember that one that was long and it had the little square cubey thing that would
Oh,
flip
totally.
as it powered or,
Yep.
or flashed or something?
Yeah, I had one, and you had you only had 6 flashes.
Yeah.
And then your flash was gone.
And you're
you
like-
had to buy a new flash kit or
Yeah, do
something.
they even understand that?
Oh, no.
Joe had one of those. Did you have a Polaroid camera growing up?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. See, all of us know what that is, but actually Polaroid has come back.
It has.
And
So now it's mini.
It is.
It's the
and they
mini.
still blur out though. You give it
Yep.
6 months and they're gone. You're like,
I
well,
still think I have 1 or 2 Polaroid pictures left.
and you can see them?
Yes.
Wow.
So maybe the old ones, like,
Everything's better. All the old stuff's always better.
Except for
Everything
the-
was made out of metal.
remember
it was
when
real.
you had the spiral phone dial thingy?
I
That was
love
not
that.
better. You like
Oh,
that?
I did.
Oh, I hated that. You'd get the.
I didn't
so-
like the zeros though. Like when you
Right.
like, yeah.
So I'm dyslexic, and the numbers, like if you misspell a word, it's
Yeah.
misspelled. But 54 is still 45, is still a valid.
yes.
And so I would be like, well, that's wrong, and I have to redial. So and you're like, it's like 5 9s in a row. You're like, really?
yeah.
I gotta wait for that. But that's what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is kind of funny, and
And we used to answer the phone without knowing who it was.
well, nobody calls anymore. So does anybody call? Do you have a home phone?
We did because we needed it for our home alarm system, but then we got to change our system and we don't.
So you have a dog now.
Yep.
So we have a real
3
alarm.
dogs.
Yeah. Oh, we have 3 now. So Olivia was just saying, hey, that's Kelly where we got Finn.
Yes.
I should show her a picture. I'm like, they don't care.
Totally. Yeah. No, I saw Verity's posted. I love.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him.
So
It's-
he chewed on everything for like another year, and then
Wow.
finally he's like, I'm old now. I can
up.
stop. Yeah.
See?
So he's good now. He's
Good.
we just got another farm dog. He's supposed to be outside guarding the chickens,
Yeah.
but right now he's just inside protecting our house from dry spots.
Yeah.
No, actually he's not peeing in the house anymore.
Oh, that's good.
But so now those two are like, who's alpha?
Yes.
And they are in each other's face. And so I'll give them. We went to. Have you heard of the White Oaks Regenerative Cattle Farm down in Bluffton, Georgia? So there's a guy. He was on Joe Rogan. Is how I heard him. His name is, I think, something Willis, Jeff Willis, something.
Okay.
But he's got a cattle farm that he took from being like 500 steer that are in their elbows up to their poop and all that to let's let them grain, followed by chickens, followed by goats and all that, like regenerative. And
Nice.
so we went down there to check it all out, and they would take the cowhide, and they've used everything. So they made dog chewy toys out of the cowhide.
Totally.
Yeah, and I was like, let me buy a few of those.
Those are the bully sticks.
Yeah, and so the dogs bully each other over the stick. So it is hilarious. I mean, not really hilarious, but
Yeah.
it is kind of funny. Like, who's got it? And they're like, they're shifting their eyes looking for like the other 2 dogs. Like, and Retta's not like dominant enough to go after it, but if it's like on the ground, she'll just like snaps. Like she's like a coyote,
it. Yeah.
and she'll just walk up, and grab it, and then run.
Yep.
And then they all chase her around. Like there's going to be a catastrophe.
It's sibling rivalry.
Yeah, but it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's some good first jobs. I don't think I was a short order cook ever, but I always wanted to work at Waffle House because I just.
Oh,
I don't
we didn't
know
have
why.
Waffle House in California, so.
Well, why not?
I guess ours was more like we had Denny's.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Denny's was maybe our Waffle House,
Yeah.
but Denny's was nicer than Waffle
Did you
House.
know the Spanish for the La Quinta Hotel? Do you know what
La Quinta?
La Quinta. You know
Yeah.
what that means?
No.
Next to Denny's.
Oh,
Because they're always.
it should be Cracker Barrel.
Oh, true.
Next to
That's
Cracker
actually
Barrel.
better. Yeah. So we used to plan our trips based on where the Cracker Barrels were. So we
yeah.
would be like, how do we drive there and stop so we could eat at Cracker Barrel? Because it's got a showcasey thing where the kids can play.
We do that for Buc-ee's.
Oh, yeah.
What route do we take to get to Buc-ee's?
So explain Buc-ee's, because probably some people, like we have people that are listening from Australia, which is weird.
awesome.
I'm like, how did you find
Yeah.
us? But so what is a Buc-ee's?
It's a gigantic gas station.
Right there, they're going, wait, you plan your trip for a gas station, but it's not
It's
over.
a deluxe gas station.
What do they give back rubs? No.
There's I don't even know how many pumps. 70.
100? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. It's insane.
I mean, it
when you pull up.
surrounds the entire. It's like a super Walmart version of a gas station,
Yeah.
but you can get Yetis
Yeah.
in there. You get all this delicious barbecue food,
Right.
and it's like all fresh made.
Yeah.
The bathrooms, you get your own stall,
And they're clean.
And they're clean.
Yeah.
It's immaculate. You can get home decor. You can get a bathing suit.
You can buy hunting materials.
You can get anything you want.
It is weird. They have. It's like a
You
Dollar
can even
General.
buy a smoker.
You can. Yeah. The green egg. Yeah.
Yeah,
they have those
outside.
there.
I know.
Lawn chairs.
Yep.
Everything. Gatorade.
Yep. And
yeah,
you can get
everything.
like Bucky Nuggets, beaver nuggets.
Oh, yeah.
Those are delicious.
And the beef jerky. They have the wall of beef jerky.
Yep.
So that is weird. So there is one up here by us.
it's north of us. Yep.
That's too early to stop, though, isn't it?
Well, it's on the way to Aiden's college, so it's
you
right on the freeway.
have to fill up there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just get Buc-ee's.
I saw this one
pulled
pump.
pork.
It was like an OG pump. It said something. It wasn't like leaded gas here because they don't
Yeah.
do leaded gas, but
Yeah.
it was like it's whatever the old gas was. It just said regular, no ethanol or whatever, but it cost more.
Oh.
But it was like 1970s gas minus the lead. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? So it
yes.
was like a different. I guess takes away the NOx. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a.
I just get 87.
Yeah, me too. Cheapest one. Does it matter? I have no
I don't.
idea. I'm an engineer.
I have a minivan. I don't really.
Yeah, we want that thing to die soon. Yeah. Okay. So your mom, it sounds very interesting, and she lives here. So eventually, I'm going to need to meet her. And so let me back up. So we're going to talk about Kelly going from doing CrossFit and then taking a long break and then getting into CrossFit. So that's going to come up here. But we're just getting to know you first. So members listen. So we want to know who is Kelly, right? Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. So no, I met my husband at band camp.
Yeah.
In high school.
Oh yeah, that's right.
In marching
And
band.
you played the flute.
I did play the
so
flute.
everybody out there, come on, say it with me. One time at band camp.
And it was a couple of years after that movie came out. American Pie.
That's it. That's
yeah.
it. So I've been saying that for years.
Yep.
And so finally Evan was old enough. I'm like, let's watch it together.
Oh, it's so bad.
The secondhand embarrassment, I have it big time, and he's got it even more. He's like, Dad, I can't make it through this movie. Like, it just gets worse from here. So we
does.
didn't even finish it.
No,
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
it's so bad. But yeah, we met in high school and it was
California high school?
Yep.
I'm sorry
Yep,
for
in
you.
the Bay Area.
Yeah.
It was
Wait.
beautiful weather. We lived by the beach.
Walnut Creek?
I worked in Walnut Creek for a little
used
while.
to live there. Do we know that?
I think maybe years ago.
Yeah, when we were
So-
friends the first time.
We were born and raised in San Jose.
Yeah, okay.
So just about a half hour south of there.
Yeah, we grew up a tiny bit in Walnut Creek.
Yep.
I don't really remember much
it's
about
beautiful.
it. Yeah, except for the kid used to shoot his BB gun at rats.
Oh.
I'm like, I don't know why
Yeah.
there were rats, and I don't know why you were. I don't know. Like, it's like a dream.
It's more country.
It does.
I mean,
yes.
Walnut, then it was.
Yeah, it was 1975-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's true. It was way out there.
Yeah.
My dad still laments. He's like, that house is selling for $5 million now,
easily.
or whatever. But maybe not right now. But it used to. Yeah.
it'll-
So your mom is interesting. She lives here. I haven't met her yet. But if she's making chicken, I want to meet her. So what?
So she just ordered 30 chickens.
Okay.
And they just picked them up because we just slaughtered them.
Okay.
So the next batch for 6 weeks came. They went to the post office, and there were 64 chickens.
Oh.
And one-day-old chicks.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she goes, she went back to check, she's like, did I order? So they're literally in 6 weeks is going to be 60-something chickens.
Anybody else that wants to be in,
Totally.
I don't know if this will come out before that happens, but
yeah.
if you do, Kelly and I are going to slaughter some chickens if you
Yes,
want to learn.
totally.
She wants the help.
Yep. It was really, I mean, even the process. The first couple, you're like, I grew up fishing. We
Yeah.
grew up camping and fishing, so we gut fish. We did all the fishing
How many times
stuff.
did you gut your thumb?
I never did.
Oh,
I mean, my
look at
cousin
you.
did. My boy cousin did.
Yeah.
But I never.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
all the
I was
time.
always pretty good about that. So this was just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And a little warmer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we harvest our own roosters.
Yeah.
Because they don't, you don't
Yeah.
need that many roosters.
Yep.
And but since they free range, they're very chewy.
Yeah.
And so we
Yes.
usually just boil them and feed them or not boil them, crock pot them and then feed them to the dogs.
Yep.
But I like what you did. So this
Yes.
isn't what I was going to ask, but this is pretty fascinating. What did you do with the bones and stuff?
So we did the 2 roasters. We did this last week. So I kept 2 roasters, didn't freeze them, cooked them like in the oven. We took all the meat off and ate that, and then I took all the bones and the feet, which I cut the feet off. Those
Yeah.
were in the freezer, but you put them in the crock pot with a little bit of apple cider vinegar, some vegetables, and water, and literally you let it.
And
do
you
the
guys
soup.
are going to eat that.
No, it's dog. no. You could. I mean, you
Yeah,
could
you
do
could.
bone broth.
Yeah.
I just don't have enough space right now
No.
with chickens and all that
Yeah.
to do bone broth. So we just literally pureed it in the Cuisinart, and it is dog food.
Right.
Do
you give it to them in liquidy form or do you thicken it up?
It's pretty thick. It's
Oh.
like the consistency
Because
of
it
tuna,
has
I
marrow
guess.
and stuff in there, I suppose.
It does. And
Yeah.
so the bones, I mean, I could puree it to mush,
Right.
but it just is, once the bones have been softened,
Right.
they can eat them.
So that is okay, right? So they say, hey, don't feed chicken bones to dogs
Right.
because they'll crack and they'll like poke them and all
Yes.
that. But if you boil
They're
them, overcook them, you can
destroyed.
I've seen that. I can
smash
squeeze
them,
them and they
yeah.
go poop and they
Yeah.
just So
And
you could-
so we just do kind of a big blop in their dry
yeah.
food.
Did you eat any of the bone?
No.
I have. I don't know if we cooked it like that on purpose or by accident,
Yeah.
but I was like, oh, this is neat, the bone, and I tasted one.
I mean,
like,
I'm sure
kind
there's
of
plenty
chewy.
of cultures that do. You
And,
don't
yeah.
waste stuff.
No, why would you? Right. So what has your either your parents or your grandparents? What's something they taught you that you're like, yep, that's a good lesson? And now that you're a mom of kids in college,
Oh. Well, I don't know about that.
you haven't learned anything. They did not teach me anything.
I mean, I learned how to be industrious.
Yeah.
I guess. So my grandfather would buy houses in California,
Oh.
and my mom, and they would flip them.
Oh, yeah.
And so we
Look
would
at
do
you.
the grunt work.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't learn how to tile or I could now, but with 4 teenagers, is
With YouTube, you can do anything.
that's true.
So I am a landlord by day.
Yeah.
And I'm an electrical engineer, so I can fix, I should know this stuff.
Yeah.
But even, I'm like, I don't do refrigerators.
Yeah.
But with YouTube, I do. Yeah. I've repaired many a refrigerator.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah.
For sure. Ours just broke last week, so they had to fix
Hey,
it.
if you need help, I've put refrigerant in, and
Yeah.
I mean,
It was a defrosting issue. We had to.
so it's the coils in the back then?
Yep. We had to pull like all the screws. I didn't. The
Yeah.
guy did.
So when I fixed my, what was it? It was my refrigerator. So in our house, it fits this one particular boxed area.
Yeah.
So we can't get rid of it because right, it's like
it's the
slides
right
in right
size.
here. I'm like, dang it, that was a dumb idea. Anyway, they're like, these are the 3 most common problems. So I ordered those parts
Yeah.
and just replaced them, and it didn't work. They're like, then it's probably your refrigerant. So like, let me buy that and
Perfect.
I'm pumping refrigerant in
Did
it.
it?
That was easy.
Good.
Yeah, just watch
Well, it's
YouTube
realizing
videos.
that you can do it.
Yeah.
It's
And they're like, it'll leak out. So what? In 5 years, I'll put more in.
exactly.
Whatever.
Nope.
Yeah. So being industrious, that's interesting because I talked to Chris his episode came out today, and he is a kid. Well, he's 25, but
Yeah.
he's super industrious.
Oh, okay.
And like, it's interesting to see, like, sometimes people aren't. and
Yep.
some people, so it
Totally.
hits in different.
I mean, even just like, and I don't can, I would say, we just go through too much food
Right.
with 4 teenagers to.
Oh, yeah.
But I love gardening. I mean, I could go fishing. I could fish.
Do you have a
gut
pond you
my
can fish at?
No.
Yeah.
But
Wouldn't you guys, does Lake Altoona butt up to the neighborhood?
see, we fished in California when we had like trout. Like we would fish in streams and stuff.
Yeah.
Not catfish.
Yeah.
In Alatoona.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd eat catfish.
It's totally different.
It is very.
Fish.
Yeah. Catfish eat everything, so I don't eat catfish.
Yeah, they're bottom dwellers.
Yeah, I don't eat many things that eat like
No,
poop.
I like ocean fish. Now, my mom and her husband they're ocean fishers. They go out and get hundreds and hundreds of pounds of
wow.
massive tuna, and I don't even know the type of fish because
I don't know,
I
yeah.
get seasick, so I'm like, I don't go on the ocean.
If I can't see land,
yeah,
I don't like it.
They go hundreds of miles out. I don't even
wow.
know. Like it was off the coast somewhere down in California.
Yeah.
It was this like 2-week-long trip.
I had these
on a
friends. It was Ginger, the skipper, and their friend Gilligan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they went on a 4-hour tour.
Yeah, that's all you need.
And they landed on an island for years. Yeah.
That was enough. That's all.
Hopefully somebody got that.
Yeah.
Right. They don't
Oh, I
know.
get
They don't
it.
know what
I
that is.
totally
Yeah.
get it.
Okay, so your fitness journey. So let's jump back into that. So it's farm, fitness, and finances. So we're covering
Yes.
all these things. So you decide, hey, I'm going to do this CrossFit, and so I'm going to tell a fun story on you. It was great.
Yeah.
So. Originally there was 4 owners, and one of them, Shane, was behind the rest of us in deadlifting, and I was like, I'm going to get to 400 pounds, which don't do that because I ruined my back, and I still pay for it now. But so he's at like 300 pounds, and along come you, and you're like, oh, I could probably do this. And as a soccer player, I know soccer players can deadlift great because of all just the legs running, whatever, and you don't really lose that. So like day 1, you're like up to 200 pounds. I'm like, look, I'm a little nervous. Let's stop. You're like, but this is easy. I'm like, but let's just stop anyway. And then I think maybe like 2 days or 3 days later or whatever, you went up to like 315 pounds. And I'm like, let's stop here again because I'm nervous.
Yeah.
And you've beat most of the guys in the gym. So we gave Shane crap for years that
Yes.
like, you still can't lift more than Kelly. But,
Yep.
So I just found that video
Yes.
of you lifting.
It was great.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
check this out. So you did CrossFit. You just y'all moved to Texas, and then you're back, and didn't you decide I think I should do something again? So
Yes.
what was it like coming back? Like the mind struggle and all that stuff.
I did CrossFit one. I homeschooled our 4 kids.
Okay.
And so that was kind of my
Veritas?
break. No, we did classical conversations.
Classical
Yep.
conversations. Yep.
So they would be in a kid room and they would do their work and I would work out. It would be because I wasn't able to play soccer anymore.
Right.
And I was like, I needed
Something.
I need a major muscle movement
Right.
that wasn't happening being a mom.
Yeah.
And so that was just for my peace of mind.
Yeah.
And so CrossFit fit that.
Yeah.
I then made some poor choices in working out with a friend of mine who was like, let's go twice a day.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, okay, sure. So I was.
Yeah.
And that destroyed my
Yes.
adrenal glands.
Yes.
Like that, don't do that.
Yeah.
That,
So weirdly, I've had that similar conversation. So yes, so it feels like, hey, especially back in 2010, let's push ourselves.
yes.
And then I'm 50, and we just did the CrossFit Open, and I was like number 2-ish in the gym.
Nice.
And I don't do much.
Right.
I just do what we program.
Yeah.
And even then, like on the heavy days, I don't necessarily lift heavy. I put my heavy in the workout itself. CrossFit works. It's elegantly designed. It's just constantly very, I can't even say it now. Constantly varied functional movements executed at high intensity. There we go.
Nice.
So, right, yeah.
Okay.
So if you just do that, your whole body is going to continue to produce.
It does.
And the other day, a video came up of me doing a legless rope climb, and someone said, I bet you can't do that anymore. And I just did. I'm like, look, at
Wow.
50,
Yeah.
I can go up. I was a little nervous I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it up. But I know how to wrap my foot a little faster now, so I wasn't like too nervous.
Yes.
But I have had conversations with people. They're like, hey, if 1 is good, 2 is gooder. I'm like, no, just like that grammatical statement.
Yep.
It is not. It's
not.
like, yeah. So
I tell my kids that 1 pump of soap is good.
Yeah.
2 pumps is too much.
you're just wasting it. It's just sliding.
More
right
is
up
not
there.
better.
It's not all the time. And so, especially when we're doing this sort of stuff, so CrossFit does want you to have some sort of rest in there somewhere. If you're not going to, like the guys who are going to the games, somebody had said, this is a fascinating, I believe this, I just didn't have the words for it. CrossFitting for the CrossFit Games is actually unhealthy because it's not sustainable.
Right.
And if you're going to do something like that 2 days or whatever, you need like cold baths, you need massage therapy, you
Yes.
need
It's extreme.
like real help to help you recover.
Yes.
If you're mere humans that just want a mere human life, yeah. So our motto on the wall is happy, humble, helpful people who want to be healthy and fit now as well when we're 90.
Yes.
So what does 90 look like? Well, I'm doing 2 days. That doesn't
Right.
get your 90.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so some time goes by
Yep.
and you're like, hey, I guess
missed it.
Stinky Andy is still there.
I lost my biggest thing was I love being outside. I love being in nature. I love gardening, and I couldn't carry mulch bags.
Oh.
I'm like, wait a minute. And my kids are all teenagers, so they could do it. It wasn't, but I couldn't do
Right.
it. And
So
so I
functional
had
fitness.
lost
Yeah.
some mobility, and I was really not happy about that. So then I tried going back to our gym, like our local gym, and I was doing a bar class, and I was doing a weight class, and I was doing a whatever.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It just wasn't
Moving the
working.
needle?
It wasn't working.
Yeah.
And so I came back with a mindset where I knew what all my PRs were.
Yeah.
I had
This is a tough one right here. The mind
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, keep going. I just want people
Yeah.
to understand. Having your scores
Yes.
15 years younger and then coming back, like I see them now, I haven't stopped.
No.
And I'm like, I can't meet that anymore, right?
I
So-
had to come to that, and that
Yeah.
was hard.
Yeah.
Because I came back and I'm like, okay, I don't even know if I could run 200 meters right now. Like that, I'm happy that I just literally walked in the door.
Yes.
But every time I've done a weight, January, February I came back. I was like, I'm 100 pounds, literally 150 pounds from what I used to do.
Right.
And I'm okay with that
Yeah.
because I'm moving and my body's responding.
That's right. And you know what you're going to get day after day after day? Compounding interest
Yes.
in fitness.
Yes. I already am.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm coming twice a week.
Yeah.
I'm trying 3.
Yeah.
2
hey,
is
experiment.
2
right?
is my goal.
Yeah.
But if I can get here 3, I mean, I'm sleeping better.
Right.
My body, it definitely is tightening.
Yeah.
It's not.
So the scale sometimes isn't a great measurement
No,
because
not
we're
at
adding
all.
muscle.
Yep.
But the clothes, the way they fit,
Yes.
is typically what we try to tell people.
Yes.
Though I will admit, I'd say 99% of the ladies who walk in say, I need to lose weight. I'm like, what if we changed your body's shape?
Yes.
And it's like, maybe?
It's
Because the
hard.
scale
The
is
numbers,
such a
It is. It's powerful.
driver.
Yep.
So I think I offered, maybe if I haven't, I think I offered you this, that I can change your Wodify login, create you a new account so you have no numbers. Would that be helpful?
I've never looked at it.
Oh,
I just
okay.
know my numbers because I have them in my phone.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, what could I use to overhead squat? What could I? I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. It's what I can do right now.
Yeah.
And that's what I can do right now. And I'm 46.
Yeah. And you're moving pretty good.
I am.
So I listened to a guy, Pat Sherwood, who's got CrossFit Linchpin and Varied Not Random. I like his podcast. He's got a smooth voice. I'm like, I can listen to him all day. Anyway, he's got a wife that went to the games.
Wow.
And he was talking with her in this conversation thing. Mm-hmm. And so imagine being a games athlete. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I am like 200 pounds from my numbers. Wow. And I just have to be okay. I reckon I have to be okay with that. And she said the struggle was real for a while,
Absolutely.
but then you're like, I'm living a good life.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that I'm coming.
Yeah.
That's real. I'm like, even today, I was like, oh, I don't. okay.
But it's fun when you come, right?
It is, totally.
It's a community.
And I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, yeah.
I leave proud of myself that I did something that was hard.
Yeah, no,
And
for
it's
sure.
not hard, it's just challenging.
Yes. So everyone's going to do something hard, and you have to choose what it is. So I
Yes.
heard I don't know if it was on a podcast. It might have been on this podcast called Rediscovering Biblical Manhood. No, it wasn't. That's her husband's podcast. We'll get there. But it was on another one. But it said you have to choose your hard. So being poor is hard. Being rich is hard. Being married is hard. Being divorced is hard. Being obese is hard.
Yep.
Being fit is hard.
Yes.
Which hard do you want to choose? I'm
Totally.
like, wow.
That's true.
Because I come almost every day.
Yep.
And it doesn't feel hard, but you have to commit to the coming in.
Totally.
Yeah. So what has been something? What's something that you're like? Oh, I did that. Like you got back. Have you been able to carry mulch?
Well, we had our mulch done before, so
It's
but I
not time for
wheelbarrowed
that,
it.
yeah,
Not yet.
yeah.
But I wasn't sure being able to do a kipping pull up. I'm like,
Oh.
I've not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been probably 3 years.
Yeah.
Since I've
How'd that
been
go?
on it. I did them.
Oh,
yeah.
look at that.
I mean, my hands hurt. So I'm like, ooh, I
Yes.
have baby hands again.
Oh yeah. That is true. I guess something
and
we
I
don't
climbed
talk
half
about.
the rope.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even know. I mean, it was so.
Did you climb the rope before?
I did.
Okay.
Yes. But it was
Did you remember how to come down?
yes, slowly.
I had somebody go. So we've been taking what's the month? Is it May? Is May?
Yeah.
So April and May have been Gain Your Skills months, and so we did a whole sesh of like pull-ups, double unders, climb the rope, and all
Yeah.
that. So we had some people go up the rope.
Nice.
They're like, look at me. I'm like, then they're like, how do I get down?
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
it's the exact same way. And so you're like, just go up halfway then. Don't go
Yes.
up as far anymore.
Yeah,
But yeah,
no.
so it can be nerve-wracking when you're up there and you're like, oh snap.
Yeah.
I'm up, and what do I do?
yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing. You just come down.
Yep.
But
But no,
so,
those were good accomplishments.
yeah, that is really good. So
That-
how about your hands? Are they feeling better?
Yeah, I mean, it just takes time.
Okay, so there is probably, so we've been open for 15 years. Oh man, we probably have 1,500 people that have been in the gym for an amount of time that just moved, came back, whatever.
Yes.
So I'm going to send an email specifically to them saying, hey, Kelly came back, you can too. What would you tell them, like, in coming back? I'm afraid, I'm nervous, it's been too long.
When I did CrossFit prior, before I took a break, it was a very competitive mindset.
Oh, it
I
was.
wanted to be
Not just
I wanted
in
the best
CrossFit,
time.
but here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted the best time.
Yeah.
Generally, you knew who you could never beat.
Yes.
And so you just succumbed to I'll
Right.
beat third.
Oh,
But it was. I really had to just kind of put that mindset out because that wasn't why I was there. It's not why I
Right.
came back.
Right.
I'm not coming back to beat.
Right.
the
And we don't even do
22-year-olds.
that anymore.
Right.
So that is interesting. It's hard to tell people we're a very different gym.
Yes.
And
I don't even look at anyone's talk. I don't
Yeah,
even think
I
it's talked about.
no, it's not. And it's in there, and you can see it, and some
Yeah.
people do look at it. And you can see your own personal records
Yes.
on the whiteboard section. But it is interesting that it's not really we
It's
do
not
want
the
you
goal.
to no.
Yeah.
It's you come in and move.
Yep.
You get better, healthier, and fit.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And I definitely would say that has shifted even when I did it. I guess I did like eight years or so. Kind
Yeah.
of took a break,
Yeah.
and now I'm back. Is the community is still there, which is that's what I loved. To log in and see my name, I'm like, okay, so there's accountability there.
Yep.
You don't do that at a gym.
No.
You scan your number. It doesn't. You could go sit in the bathroom and leave in 5 minutes, and
Right.
you were at the gym.
Right.
So there is an accountability
Yeah.
that I need,
Yeah.
and I like group workouts. I don't like solo workouts.
Yes.
And that's really
Yeah.
It's just coming and doing what you can. There's nobody cares what you're doing.
no. And well, how about this? I would say it the other way. People care that you're here.
Yes.
Not necessarily what you're doing.
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
If you miss a few days, you get calls from us.
Yes.
Which is not like normal gyms.
No.
They don't care. Actually, they want 10,000 members and
Yes.
only 100 of them showing up.
Yes.
We want 100 members and 100 people showing
Yes.
up. Yeah. So
and you can tell the difference.
Oh, yeah.
You can feel the difference. I mean,
It is weird if you're at like a Globo gym, a Lifetime or whatever, and a dude walks up or a girl walks up, you're like, do not talk to me. But in here,
totally.
Yeah.
You're like, please talk to me.
yeah. And what am I doing right? What am I doing
Yes.
wrong? How can I be? Yeah.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. It is interesting. I did not expect that part of it when Eric said, let's do this crazy thing. I just was like, I want a place, because I was swinging a fertilizer bag as my kettlebell, which is stupid. But we didn't have the gear back then.
No.
And so I thought, if we had a place and we could buy the gear.
Yep.
But the community was there. I'm like, wow.
And I think also coming off the pandemic of the 3 years,
Oh, yeah.
the way that we have been so solo and isolated,
Yeah.
that just kind of continues in the Globo gyms.
Right.
Where this is totally not.
That's right.
And for me, that was a big deal because we're supposed to be in community. That's what humans do.
That's right. We like to socialize.
yeah.
Or I'm an introvert, but I still like to socialize.
Absolutely.
With the people that I enjoy.
Yes.
Which is why we put the motto up.
Yep.
So we do have people come in here and say, I'm going to the games. I'm like, that's not us.
Right.
Brandon Phillips owns CrossFit Bound. He went to the games.
Yes.
Go down there.
Go.
And I'll put people in the place they want to go because you're just not going to like it. Like we had people walk in after like, oh, you can kind of open your gym, sort of, maybe, sort of.
Yep.
And we were like, open and let's do this thing. And people would walk in with a mask and we're like, so we're not necessarily that place.
Right.
And they're like, some of them would be like, thank goodness, and they would take it off. Other people are like, oh. I'm like, yeah, so it's probably not going to be a good fit, but you can still try it.
Yes.
And it wasn't a good fit.
No.
But you find the people that like
Absolutely.
jive with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're out there and you want to come back, totally.
Absolutely.
Make it.
Do
Call,
it. Totally
call
do
Kelly.
it.
Her phone number is 555.
1212.
It's 876-54309. See if anybody knows what that is.
My kids will start singing.
Did they know it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so actually, this is a good one. So, what are you excited most about? Like, you're getting this fitness, and you have maybe plans for the future to use your fitness. Is it just to beat your kids up, or what?
Honestly, it's as my kids. So my kids watched me do CrossFit for so many years that somehow I didn't realize this. It ingrained in them weights. I don't actually know. So 3 of my kids are weightlifters.
Okay, now I didn't know the 3 of them were because I've seen. I went and stalked you to see. Like, I saw all of their pictures of group pictures had their arms up in that pose. I'm like,
it's ridiculous.
That's
I
awesome.
mean, it is awesome.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if I didn't do CrossFit, I wonder if they would be even doing this. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But my daughter, it's my 18-year-old daughter, who she just broke 5 straight records at her
What?
last meet. She just deadlifted 402.
Shane, if you're listening,
I'm like-
there's another person, another
An
female
18-year-old.
is dogging you, and I think she just beat me too.
Yeah.
So
I'm like,
good job, kiddo.
It's crazy. She and her motivation. So I was like, well, if they're doing this, why am I not using my body?
Right.
And that was a part of the motivation too.
Yeah.
And so
That's
it
good.
was,
Well, kids watch us.
Yes.
And we don't know they watch us.
Right.
Like, hey, if we're CrossFitting, they'll probably CrossFit.
Yep.
If we're smoking, they'll probably smoke.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So similarly, I sent. I sort of forced. I was like, hey, Evan, or Olivia, Evan, and Levi, you're old enough, you've been doing this long enough, you should up your game. We have a business. Go get your CrossFit Level 1 certification.
Yep.
So they went down there, and they took it, and they passed it, and I was messing with them. We did a little podcast. I was like, Olivia's like, wait, we've been doing this podcast for 20 minutes, and you know if we passed or not, and you didn't tell us? I'm like, I haven't told you yet. And so they all passed.
Yeah.
And
That's
Levi
awesome.
said the test was super easy. I'm like, okay, well, one, you've been doing CrossFit for 9 years.
Yes.
So you know what you're doing.
Yep.
And 2, you just took 5 AP exams. So I'm sure a
You're
CrossFit.
really smart.
Yeah. Well, or he's in test mode,
Yes.
right? Like, when's the last time you took a Scantron test?
25 years
Right.
ago? Yeah.
So I'm like, did I even bubble A in on the right number? I don't know.
Do I use my number 2 pencil?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. So, what type of books or podcasts are you listening to or reading?
I listen to a lot of podcasts on spirituality.
Okay,
On Christian.
And your favorite one right now?
It's called. It's the ministry I serve through. It's a women's ministry locally, and
Be kind. Be.
the ministry is called Be Still.
Be still. That's it.
The podcast is called There Is More.
There is more. You
Yes.
do all those. Good job.
Yes.
And there's another one that someone close to you actually produces on his own.
Yes, my husband.
And it's called.
It's called Rediscovering Biblical Manhood. And it's he and his friend from Australia, who just listening to his accent is fun.
Right. So I can listen to British or
Totally.
Australian. Yeah, just talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're at home. We're watching PBS Masterpiece.
Okay.
It's all English.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
I have to put the subtitles on because
Sometimes
you don't
you're like, what is that
quite
word?
know what they're saying.
So what are they talking about?
They're just 2 men in their mid-40s that are basically talking about manhood.
Yeah.
Being a Christian man. What does that mean in this world? What does that mean in this culture?
Yeah.
And there's topics from addiction to, right now they're doing, I think, what hills should you die on?
Okay.
And
Not Hamburger Hill, but other hills.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. Not Arby's. But,
Yeah. That was an old movie, Hamburger. Anyway.
Oh, no.
Vietnam. Yeah.
Okay.
So I listened to a podcast called The Brotherhood of Fatherhood.
Oh, okay.
And he interviews people who do things like what Jay is doing.
Oh, okay.
I should connect them. He could probably
I'll write that down.
get on his podcast. And so one interesting way to grow podcasts is to get on somebody else's podcast because we all listen.
Yes.
And so if you're like, I'm already listening to a show that's interesting about this,
Yes.
I'm interested in the other show.
And more.
So
Yep,
so
absolutely.
they help each other out.
Yep,
But
absolutely.
that's a fun one.
Yep.
What about books? Any book that you would always recommend? Like, hey, kids, you need to, because you homeschooled, so you probably said,
Yes.
read this book.
They did. Most of my kids
And
are.
what was the book that was always highly recommended? If to
It was
other?
always Dave Ramsey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the debt snowball type thing?
Oh, totally. Yeah. They've been doing Dave Ramsey since they've been about 4.
So this is fascinating. No, maybe nobody knows this, but I know this. You told your kids you will the process of getting wise on your money starts with buying your own shoes.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so one of
they
your
still
kids
are. They still do.
cheated the system. And what kind of shoes did he buy?
I don't remember.
Did you say he was buying flip flops forever? He was like, I'm just going to
it
go
was
straight
my
to
oldest.
flip flops. Yeah.
It was, and so yeah, he couldn't imagine spending $100 on shoes. Where
Right.
my other son will spend $300 on shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's a small step, pun
Yeah,
intended, to
totally.
get them to understand their own money.
the value of money.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I think it's hard, especially in our culture, and you really don't need to. You don't have to need anything.
Right.
Things are basically given to you.
They can
So-
be, and there's like the understanding of money by some people. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say kids. Anybody that's not 50 is a kid, I guess.
Yes.
But there is an app
Yeah.
on the store that you can download, and what it does is it tells you what. Once you put in your credit card and all that other information, it tells you what you're subscribed to.
Okay.
One, if you're going to put in your credit card username and password, you could just look. And two, what do you mean you don't know what you're subscribed
Right.
to?
Right.
What?
Yeah.
And that's like a real service.
Well, it's only a few dollars a month, so who cares? Like that. I mean, that's the mindset.
I care.
I care.
Yeah. What can
I just did an audit on. I call it an audit on.
Yeah. No, this one
my
exactly
kids,
is. Yeah. What are you spending
basically.
on?
I'm
Yeah.
like, I need you, and I had him add up. It was my 16-year-old. I had him add
Shoes?
up
How
every.
much?
No, it was gym drinks
Yeah.
and $5.80 here and two.
Buy a case and put it in your
It was over $300.
Yeah.
In a couple weeks.
So we have your story of like educating your kids in finances has always been in my head, and how far back I'm like, I should do something better. So I finally I use YNAB, the
Okay.
You Need a Budget Now, so it imports everything.
Okay.
And now I tell them you must reconcile. That's it. Reconcile your own statement
Yes.
to go in there and say.
Well, they don't do checkbooks anymore.
Right.
So you don't.
How do they even
have
know?
to.
So they're like, is this real? What was it?
Yep.
Are you understanding what you spend? So I think it's kind of getting the point
Yes.
across.
And and I want to share this because it's called Greenlight.
Yeah.
And it's an app, but it's also a company
Okay.
that your kids. So I wouldn't say obviously college age, but definitely high school and down. That you have 100% control, but they have their own debit card.
Okay.
And so all of it, if I say, hey, you're spending too much money at Target, I can turn off Target.
Oh no, that is awesome.
Yeah, but then I can also pay them through chores. I can pay that
Right.
It's kind of like a medium to get them
Very Dave
access.
Ramsey-like?
Very.
Yeah.
And there's Give, Save, Spend
Yeah.
that they can do inside there, and it's their own card.
So I read a book called Profit First, and in there he basically takes Dave Ramsey's envelope method, and he says, don't use envelopes because that's very 1988.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with that. And
Half places don't even take cash anymore.
I know. Story on that one in a second.
Yeah.
But so what he does is they say open up extra bank accounts in your bank, and then you put money in those.
Okay.
So that's your envelope. I'm
Yep.
like, oh, of course,
That makes
why
sense.
not? Yeah. And then you have a vault account that's in some bank that doesn't have access, like internet-wise. So
Yes.
like you can only deposit to, but you can't figure out how to get it. You have to
Yep.
actually show up.
Yes.
So that it's the vault. You can't
Yep.
get it. Yeah. So Levi got a ticket. We went up to the courthouse in Canton to pay it, and on the wall it says we don't accept cash.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
nowhere does.
That's hilarious because it's a government building who
Yep.
doesn't accept the government's, and I'm sure it's because of sticky fingers, but still, I mean that's. Do you see the irony?
It's just going more digital. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, we need cash and coins.
Except for Bitcoin. How about that? You into Bitcoin?
I'm not.
Oh,
That
I can give
confuses
you.
me.
So I have a podcast coming out. It's Bitcoin, the Lightning Network, and Nostr. You're going to
Okay.
want to listen to it.
Okay.
It's going to, it's going to be good. Free the money, free the world. It's the way that no government controls it, and it is. It's basically the way, like it's like gold, except
Okay.
it's Bitcoin. Like who controls gold? Well, I guess the Earth. Because you
guess.
can mine it from
Yeah.
there, but it's a virus that's on people's computers that run, and it's owned by I guess everybody and nobody.
Huh.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's coming
I'll
up.
have to
You'll hear
listen.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so go find Rediscovering Biblical Manhood. I'm actually going to add that to my list.
Yep.
Jay, there's a shout out. Maybe if Jay comes in here, we'll do something with him and mix
He
it
tried.
up. He doesn't.
He's
Also like 9 feet tall, so
He's-
any movements are going to be tough.
he has severe scoliosis, so he does have to be
Super
cautious
careful, yeah.
and.
Well,
just-
I'll get him on the show, the podcast, whatever. Anyway,
Totally, yeah.
Okay, so here's some questions that. This is, it can either be fast answers or you can say pass.
Okay.
Or you can go in depth, I suppose. But
Okay.
the safety word is pass. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
All right. So I stalked you on Facebook to come up with some good stuff.
Yes.
Like, we've been friends forever. Let me figure out, what would be.
Even family camp.
That's right. Oh, yeah. We're going this
Yeah.
Memorial Day. A family just pulled
Okay.
out. So if you're interested in going up,
I'll check,
go
yeah.
talk to them. So, okay, we did OG CrossFit. We did your deadlift story. We did chickens. And so we got that. Okay, and you actually covered, homeschooled your own kids.
Yep.
Would you do that again?
They're at Kings now. I mean,
Okay,
one's
so-
at Cherokee High School. I mean, it every year shifts. But
Cherokee,
Yeah.
they're like public school.
Yeah.
One's at public school, not
Yep.
Cherokee Christian.
Yep.
Okay. And the other's at King's Academy.
two are at Kings, one's at college.
And King's Academy here is a local school that does 2 days on,
It's a
3 days off.
hybrid private school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does that work well for them?
It does.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it works well for every kid.
No.
But it works well for the ones it works well
I've
for.
heard that there's got to be some intrinsic motivation,
Very.
otherwise it falls apart.
It's very college, like you get your
Ooh.
syllabus at the beginning of the week,
And
and
go.
you just work through the
I
week.
think I would appreciate that because you could probably, there's so much downtime in regular school.
if you're motivated to get it done.
Yeah. Okay, so not a pass.
Yeah.
You talked about
Yeah.
kids sports. We did that one. Everybody. So we got 5 records being broken.
My
What are the
daughter,
other
yeah.
2 lifting? How are they lifting? What are they into?
So my oldest wants to be a bodybuilder.
Okay.
And he's working on that.
Okay.
He's almost 20. And then my 16-year-old he shares a Instagram account with my daughter.
Oh.
And they.
Let's shout out to him. So if you want to follow some kids getting Instagram, yeah, she's gonna have to pull out her
I gotta
phone
pull
now.
it out. I don't
This
even.
mom, this is an
'cause
opportunity.
I don't even follow.
I'm going to IG Kids. I'm going to put this in the show notes.
Yes.
In the doodly doo, so that, and I'll put this in there too, so people can go and
Yeah,
follow them. So what are
'cause-
they called?
So
Oh,
they.
it's coming up. Yeah, it'll
Here
take
it
a
is.
while.
So it's Ayla, AYLA_power lifts, and that's
It talks about them in powerlifting.
it goes through her journey, and it does her posts, and they do their posing, and they find the right lighting for the muscle definition,
Oh.
and they look for.
Do they do any of that darkening in
Oh
where you
my-
can color it in and make it look?
I hope not.
Yeah. You could do that. I didn't realize that was a thing, but if you like put shadowing underneath the muscle, it looks bigger.
So they found lighting wherever in the gym is this particular lighting.
Yeah.
And that's
that
where
would
they-
probably be the shadow underneath. So
above,
it's got to
exactly.
be. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I have to look at my calf muscle.
Oh, yeah.
Look at,
So Levi's in the process of creating the Swole 60.
Yes.
Or he's created it. And so this summer he's delivering it. And
Yes.
it's basically skinny tall kids that need to beef up.
that would be my oldest.
And it's like,
Yep.
basically he's like, Dad, it just comes down to eating. I'm like, I know. But parents say that.
Yes.
And does he listen? But if I or Levi say exactly what you say, guess
yeah.
what he's going to do?
Do it.
He's going to listen.
Yep.
I don't. It's so
No.
crazy. Okay. So we did the Bible study. You actually run it. Be Still.
I'm on the ministry team.
Okay.
I'm on the prayer team.
And when do you guys
And
meet?
then
And what is it?
It's once a month, and it's women basically in the Atlanta-ish area.
Okay.
And
As long as you're willing to drive.
absolutely.
So
Well,
I'm from
and we're in Woodstock.
Chattanooga? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people have come from other states.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. And now there's actually an Ohio group and
Wow.
an Alabama
And
group.
what's the focus of Be Still?
It's just women. It's the power of your testimony.
Yeah.
And so they'll have 1 or 2 people share their testimony. There's worship and prayer. That's it.
So
It's-
weird. That's exactly what we're doing here.
okay.
Right?
Totally. It's the power of your testimony.
It's the power of your testimony.
Absolutely.
So look, I did this.
Yep.
I came back.
Yep.
And then, Randy and Mom, hello. We're going to be working out together in a little bit. Give me, yeah, okay, perfect. Did she sign a waiver?
Yes.
Okay, then you're in. Show her around. Show
We're
her.
gonna go break her real quick.
Yeah, no, don't do that. Yeah, that's right. Don't do that. So if you ever have friends, and they're like, they want to try CrossFit, but they're nervous or whatever.
Yeah.
So I will coach a class just for you and your friends.
Okay.
So that's what Randy's like, hey, can my mom come in? I'm like, yes,
perfect.
let's do it.
Okay.
More specifically, if there's movements that you're really good at,
Yeah.
I'll make sure they're in the workout.
Okay.
So you could like,
Show off.
yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
look at me. I just totally look at my calf muscles. Yeah, we could totally do that. Okay. So is stretching important?
Yes. Stretching is important, especially as you get older.
So day 2, you're like, Andy, nobody's stretching. I'm like, you could just stop and stretch.
when
you're
do we
like, well, that's a
stretch?
good point. You
Yeah.
could just do it anytime.
But before,
Yeah.
it was part of the workout.
So the fascinating part is it has changed, and one of the biggest things that I dislike, but it's where it is right now.
Yeah.
This guy, John, from I think it's called Brand X, said that the reason that more people can't go to the games is they're not strong enough, or that's the biggest deficiency is strength.
Okay.
And then CrossFit all of a sudden became strength biased. This is why there's almost always like lifting before the workout. which doesn't actually do what people think it does. Because if you want to lift for strength, it's more hypertrophy, which your kids are doing, right? Bodybuilding type things, right? So like today we did time under tension. That's okay. That'll fit into what we do, but we don't have a lift and recover. Ours is go, 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 go.
Got it.
So you're going to get strength over time, right? And so doing this extra lifting, what we do to kind of still let you lift is, well, today we had back squats, but we had tempo back squats and then back squats in the workout. So it's like, hey, you got to warm up for it anyway.
Yes.
So we'll just put it in there. Yeah. So, so anyway, the class has more stuff in it. Therefore, the end of it, instead of having 10 minutes of like structured rolling out, it's like, hey, there's 5 minutes. Probably do your own.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'd like to go back to that, but I think it would be like...
Well, stretching is so important that my husband pays to go get stretched.
Yes.
At a storefront.
Yes.
It's like a stretch company.
That's what they do. Well, listen, it is. And so I have my own routine. I do my warm-up and then a pre-stretchy thing and then a cool-down thing. And I've been doing it for, I don't know, like 10 or so years.
So I haven't incorporated that yet.
Yeah, so it's just a thing. Like, I sit down and I do it. Yeah. Of course, today I did like a lot lighter. So today was just a move day. Whatever. I'm here, I moved, I did some cool things, whatever. So it's a little bit different. I would like to bring it back, but it's like we should test the edges of what we do. So there should be like, today we're just going to back squat heavy. That is it. It should take you the full time or even 2 hours, but it should take you the whole time. But nobody wants to do, not many people want to do that.
Yes.
On the other extreme is we should have a 10K run day. But if I program that, no one would
one's gonna come.
So it's a business, and so I gotta
Yes.
Anyway. Okay, so tell us about Officer Gomez.
It's on Facebook.
Yeah.
So no, he's an awesome resource if you have basically K through 12, I would say. Any age kid, any age in there, because he's an ex-cop that is now a resource officer at he's in Boise, Idaho. And he'll post things that parents need to keep on top of, hey, here's a vault in this app. Like, this is how you get to a secret place in this app that your kid's probably using to store probably inappropriate things. And it's just, he's just as on top of current stuff that our kids are dealing with that we are out of context.
How can we keep up with all that?
We can't. It's constantly changing. So
I always say, if you want to shortcut the process, hire a mentor.
Yes.
And technically, he's your mentor.
Totally.
But he's giving you all that information for free.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So it helps me a ton.
Yeah. I just pulled him up. Like, let's get okay.
Yes.
So okay. I'm gonna preface this with a story. You can say pass.
Okay.
But Verity got tickets from a friend to go see a movie that was coming out, and I think it was like there's at the same time there was a Bible-y movie coming out. I wasn't Passion of the Christ, but it was something. It was recently, like I'm super old, so maybe 6 months ago or less, maybe 3 months ago.
Okay.
I don't know. Time is so weird in my head.
Yep.
So we show up to this thing, and it turns out not to be what we expected, but instead there's a Southern Baptist, I think, minister in Tennessee.
Yes.
Yeah, you know I'm going with this. And he's like, here we go, casting out demons. I'm like, okay, I'm in. I don't know. I mean, it says it's in the Bible.
Yep. It was 30% of Jesus' ministry.
I know.
Yeah.
And you're like, so talk about it or pass?
I will totally talk about it. I love, it's a touchy topic.
Oh, it is.
For sure. But
so this is I'm gonna tell myself, right? So I definitely believe what it says in the Bible is real, and of course I think there's different editions, so it's not maybe written exactly right, but whatever. So they're like, hey, we can't cast out this demon because we are praying. He's like, well, that one you have to fast on.
Right.
But okay, so fasting is like powerful. That's weird because I'm hungry.
Yeah.
But both times it was about casting out demons, and you're like, okay.
Well, 7 times he casts out.
So weird that is a thing. It's in there, but do we talk about it? Like, no. And what if somebody? I mean, I knew kids that I'm like, that has a demon in it.
And if you go and you can go on the There Is More podcast.
Yeah.
And
Say it again.
There Is More podcast, which is through the Be Still Ministry I'm part of, and they interviewed me because I have firsthand experience with this.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna go listen to that.
So you can listen to it.
Oh, I'm gonna go find that.
But it's incredible. I mean, it's 30% of. I mean, Jesus said, "Go heal the sick, cast out demons." And raise the dead.
Right, not just like, hey, go heal the sick, but also just in the same line as that, go cast out demons.
It's
You're
just
like, wait,
important. And it's not, we had so many horror movies, I think, from the 80s that made
Which makes you think it's different.
Totally.
Yeah,
It's
so it is
not.
fascinating. I did like that. They're like, there could be a demon of anxiety. Like,
Absolutely.
okay, well, fascinating.
Anger, rage.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Right?
And to see somebody in the movie, they would like cough up something.
Totally.
You're like, did you just make that
Because
up?
demons they're the prince of the air.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Satan is the prince of the air.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it generally is an air type
of
product.
thing. That's fascinating.
and it's
Okay, so
just-
if you want more, it's called There Is More.
That's
And
the podcast.
That's the podcast that
and
you
then
were on.
and my name's Kelly Teresi,
yeah.
and it's
Because I said
back.
it right the first time.
Yeah, it's
But
back a few
there was
months.
10 years of Teresi, and you going Teresi. And I'm
works.
like, wait, what? And you're like, never mind, you're just
okay.
an idiot, aren't you? And I'm like, I am. I actually am.
I'll be your friend anyway.
Yeah, thank you very much. Many people won't be. Okay, so your kids also have some cool summer plans.
Yeah.
Two of them are going?
2 are leaving in like 7 days to Africa for a month.
Wow.
My oldest 2 are going to Zambia, and they're going to be there for 30 days.
So if you pray,
Yes.
please pray for
Yeah, please pray.
the
They're-
Teresi children.
And it was really cool, and it just as a mom, Zambia is as a country, they are a Christian country in their
Yeah.
constitution.
Yeah.
Or whatever they.
We have one of those, and it doesn't really matter.
I know.
A principles
anyway,
of, yeah, organization.
It's
I don't know.
it's a Christian nation. So,
Right.
well, I'm like, okay. And then they're going to a village for 2 of the weeks that the chief of the village personally invited them. So it'll be a pretty incredible. I mean, they're going just really to share the gospel. That's all they're doing.
Right, and then do whatever work they can do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've listened to several people that it's fascinating. They're like, "What motivates you?" It was in the theme of coming to America and like, Jesus and stuff. They're like, "What motivates you?" And this guy's from India, and he's like, "Running water motivates me."
Oh, totally.
So I am here to work hard because you guys have running water. I'm like,
So
that is so fascinating.
We hosted a Daraja choir, which is from Africa, and in Georgia, there's trees everywhere.
Yeah.
And the ability for them to see trees because the wood, they're like, you have so much wood.
Right, because they burn everything.
Right, because everything has to be used
Right.
and cooked, and you need wood.
And-
they're like, you have so much wood.
Right. And we don't even use it.
No.
We use natural gas. You
Yep.
probably have it too. You just
Yep.
can't get there yet.
Yep.
So we did the buy your own shoes. Okay, so something that's important to me is, or not important, but fascinating to me is these principles that they come up with people like the Dunbar number and that one's like you can only have about 150 friends and after that it starts to break down.
Okay.
Or like Occam's razor or the easiest answer is usually the answer, right?
Yes.
Sophie's choice, like all these like game theory. I love those things. You've got one called Eisenhower decision matrix.
Oh, yeah.
So what is that?
So it's...
I know you're surprised, Andy. How do
I'm
you
like,
know?
where'd you get that?
Yeah, I stalked you. I was like, this is good stuff.
This is how we help my husband, he's in business. He's a CEO, and so he has way more tools and techniques that he brings into the family that helps us. But it's basically it's a quadrant, and it's an important. If you have to take something you need to do. So there's 4 quadrants. Is it important and urgent?
Yep.
Is it important and not urgent? Is it not important and not urgent? And
Not
whatever.
important, not urgent.
Yes, whatever.
Not, yeah.
So that's how you look at your to-do list.
Yeah.
Or what you're going to approach. Or
Yeah.
right, like me coming back to CrossFit. It was important.
Not urgent.
It wasn't urgent.
And really, you want to get to the quadrant of things that are
Yes.
important,
Yes.
but they're not urgent.
Right.
Because nothing's breaking, but it's something that I should be doing. For
Yes.
yeah.
And so it's just kind of how you organize.
Right.
It's kind of how you take your life and structure it a little bit. Like,
And do the kids listen?
so I'm hoping.
So if I told them this, they would listen.
Totally.
I don't know why. That's called proximity bias.
Yeah.
You never believe the people that are close to you, which is one
I'm
of the
like,
reasons.
I love you the most.
Right. No, you don't.
It doesn't matter.
Or yes, you do.
Yeah.
So one of my, this is a joke, but this is still kind of funny. So for me, the best proof that Jesus is Messiah is that his brother James believed.
Totally.
Because seriously,
Yeah.
hey,
How much
Charlie,
would it take?
Look, I am the. No, you're not. He would not believe any. I mean, and of course I'd be
Yep.
lying, but yeah,
Yep.
no one believes the close people.
Nope.
So your kids participated in police camp.
Yep, they did.
What was
Yeah,
that?
we make them do that every year.
Oh, every year.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what happens in
And so
police
that
camp?
really kind of motivated my 16-year-old to start watching. What are the reality shows, the cop shows?
Bad Boys.
Yeah, but
That's the
whatever they
movie,
are.
yeah.
Anyway, he watched it, and he totally used these tactics that he learned at school. He got in trouble, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Right, in a good way, he got in trouble.
It
but
was.
yeah.
I mean, he had, anyway.
So what
was
do they do at police camp? Is it here in Cherokee or
Yeah,
Woodstock?
it's at
or
Cherokee. It's at
Okay.
the Canton Police Department. It's like 3 days, and they basically, if my son asked if I could sign the waiver to have him tased, I'm like, I don't really know if that's appropriate.
That's awesome. I love that.
But yeah, they just learn like kind of the other side.
Right.
They learn the cop side, and it's really, I think, probably just to get more kids interested in
Sure.
police. But
well, that and also probably to know what you're.
absolutely.
Is there a website for them? I could probably go find it. When does it usually happen?
It's normally in the beginning of summer.
Okay, so
and
it's
they
now.
only take a chunk of people, but they do it for adults too. But I've learned enough through my kids that
Right.
it's an
I can tase
simpler-
you if
yeah.
I want to. I don't
Yeah.
need a waiver to tase
Right.
you here. Okay, so I continually am using my toaster, and I'm getting crumbs underneath the toaster. Is there a hack for that?
It's a roasting pan.
He put a roasting. I was like, that is
Totally.
actually very clever.
It's been the best thing
Game
I've
changer.
ever done.
Life hack.
Like,
So
it's-
I'll see if I can find a picture of that and put
Yeah.
it on there.
It's,
So we did Jay's podcast and we did so you're just doing something new. This is probably my most fascinating, interesting piece of doing this CrossFit is there are healthy people with healthy mindsets that are trying to do healthy stuff.
Yes.
So if you go to a bar, you're going to meet your fiance that's a bar fly,
Yes.
right? If you go to the CrossFit, you're probably meeting healthy minded,
Yes.
right? If you go to the library, you're meeting, right?
Yes.
So you were like walking out going, hold on, I go get my juice thing. I'm like, I don't even know what that means.
Yes.
What are we talking? So people do interesting things for their health. Is
Yes.
it for me? Maybe not, but it's interesting to listen to.
Yes.
So what are you trying now?
Well, this is a 3-day juice fast.
Yeah.
And it's through Costco because it's all fresh. It's
Ooh, yeah.
You just order it and it shows up on your door. And it's like 6 drinks. And it's like a turmeric drink and a ginger drink and beet drink and
Turmeric is good. The rest of them, not so much for me. but-
some days are hard. Like this is my second day. And that's why I
and
wasn't.
you worked out.
Right. That's why I was like, yesterday was a tough day. Like
Yeah.
midday, I'm like, I will eat anything right
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And I woke up this morning, I'm like, I'm feeling okay.
Not too bad.
Like,
Well, the hardest
and
part of the first cleansings are the fact that the toxins are leaving,
Totally.
and it
Yep.
yeah,
And
it's
it's
kind of like
really
the
for the
reverse
liver.
of no, it's actually the same thing. Like if you went heavy drinking,
Yep.
the toxins are leaving, thus the hangover and stuff.
Well, and your skin is your biggest organ.
It is.
But then I learned in listening to this other podcast that your liver is the only organ that can regrow.
yes,
And so I was like, well, they call him they call the liver the
call it the
manager,
liver.
basically.
Oh,
So everything
The
you
manager.
eat or do says, well, the liver says you go here, you go here, you go here. And if
Interesting.
it's all clogged, it's not working well.
right.
And so
this is
basically
supposed to
is
help reset that.
Yes.
So in 3 days, you can tell me if it worked, or is it something that happens like
I'm not
I will know
totally
in three-
sure.
Okay.
I'm doing it and just it's really and it is more self-control as well.
Right.
That's part of
Yeah.
for me.
Well, willpower is a thing you grow and flex.
Yes.
So if you do too much, this is why like there's a thing called 75 hard. I hate that because there's 75 things, or you do for 75 days, you do these like 15 things that are hard. It's just too hard,
Yeah.
right? Not some of them aren't, but I would like 25 easy.
Yes.
Like give me 3 things to do for 25 days that are easy to,
Yes.
to flex the willpower muscle.
Yes, totally.
So I don't do sugar. It's probably been 8 or 9 years that I
That's
haven't
great.
eaten sugar, and it's the second time I've done it. So the first time was hard, lots of
Yeah.
flexing. The third time, I changed some of the words I use, and like I don't eat sugar
Yes.
rather than I can't. And it's
Yep.
actually interesting, the statement change. But you
Absolutely.
flex
The power
every
of
day.
words. The
It
power
is.
of words
It
is so important.
So you flex on it and you grow the willpower.
Yep.
Okay. What else? So any other? Oh, actually, last one. So there's a billboard right there. You see that? Yep.
Yes.
If you had the billboard, it was yours for 6 months.
Yeah.
What message to the world would you put? It could be anything. It doesn't have to be CrossFit. What would you put up
gosh.
there for people? It doesn't have to be the best either. You can change it later on. I just can't edit this podcast, so no one will hear it.
I think the most important is love your neighbor.
There you go. Well, I mean, right. That's actually
It's hard to
weirdly,
do.
it's in this Bible that was sold a lot.
Very hard to do.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's not easy.
It's hard to love your family.
It is hard. I love them, but I don't like them.
That's exactly right. All right, guys, this is Kelly here at the gym. If you're interested in checking us out or coming back, some of you guys, like I said, about 1,500 people in 15 years, we'd love to have you. The summer is an easy time. Many people are traveling, so it's easy to get in here light. We do start people with an on-ramp class so that you can get into the swing pretty easy. And yeah, it's a pretty simple process. Go to our website, CrossFitGarage.com. We will see you next week.